So here's something Canadians need to hear. Tim Hortons recently reported declining customer satisfaction scores. And while the company points to various factors, many customers are asking tough questions.
Fix is becoming increasingly expensive. Coffee prices continue to climb. And now one of Canada's go-to spots for a cup of joe is hiking its prices for the first time in 3 years.
Tim Hortons isn't just selling you coffee anymore. They're selling you a nostalgic memory of what the brand used to represent.
Changes Tim Hortons makes to attract new customers could send loyal patrons seeking a Java fix elsewhere. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
The warmth of being Canadian, the quick stop on the way to hockey practice, a Sunday ritual. It all feels authentic because it used to be. But in 2014, something fundamental changed. And according to industry analysts and customer reviews, Canadians have been noticing differences ever since. This isn't your parents' Tim Hortons. This is a corporation owned by Restaurant Brands International. And what you're getting in your cup might surprise you. Let's break it down. That medium double-double costs you around $2.50 to $2.80. Industry analysts estimate the actual ingredient cost. The beans, water, cup, cream, and sugar likely run somewhere between 40 to 70 cents per cup. That's standard for the quick service industry. The difference goes toward franchise fees, labor, overhead, and corporate profits that flow to Restaurant Brands International stakeholders. But here's where it gets interesting. What's actually in that cup? Tim Hortons states they use 100% Arabica beans sourced from regions like Guatemala and Colombia. But according to independent coffee quality assessments, the results aren't always glowing. One coffee specialist who reviewed Tim Hortons' traditional roast in 2024 gave it just 5.5 out of 10, noting aromas of burnt toast and char, with astringent bitterness and an unpleasant drying sensation. Another review described it as lacking bright or fruity notes. And here's what's really telling. In a survey of over 15,000 Canadians, McDonald's coffee ranked higher than Tim Hortons. Think about that. McDonald's, primarily known for burgers, now beats Tim Hortons at coffee according to consumer preferences. Many longtime customers point to 2009 as a turning point. That's when Tim Hortons transitioned to using its own roasting facilities and moved away from longtime supplier Mother Parkers. While this gave them more control, numerous customer reviews suggest quality declined. Some coffee experts speculate the beans may be over-roasted to maximize shelf life and reduce costs, a common industry practice. What you might be tasting isn't premium craftsmanship. It could be cost optimization. Now, maybe you're thinking, I don't care about coffee snobbery. I like mine with double cream and double sugar. That's fair, but let's talk about what that means. A medium double-double contains approximately 18 grams of sugar, more than 4 teaspoons in a single coffee. Health Canada recommends limiting added sugars to about 10% of total daily calories. For a 2,000-calorie diet, that's roughly 50 grams maximum. Ideally, no more than 25 grams for optimal health. Your one coffee gets you nearly 3/4 of the way there. And if you opt for a medium iced cap, reports indicate those can contain up to 50 grams of sugar, potentially exceeding your entire recommended daily sugar intake in one beverage. But Tim Hortons markets these as coffee drinks, not desserts. So most customers don't make the connection. They just know they feel an energy crash a couple of hours later and head back for another one. Some nutritionists call this a sugar dependency loop disguised as a morning routine.
If Tim Hortons is part of your morning routine, you may have to shell out more money for your coffee.
After finishing that coffee, you toss the cup. Seems harmless enough, but here's what most Canadians don't know. Those white paper cups have a thin polyethylene plastic lining to prevent leaks. This plastic coating makes the cups extremely difficult to recycle in most standard facilities. Environmental reports indicate that the vast majority of Tim Hortons cups end up in landfills. Some estimates suggest less than 5% are actually recycled, With many jurisdictions reporting even lower rates, Tim Hortons serves over 5 million cups of coffee daily in Canada, according to their own statements. That's over 1.8 billion cups annually. Even if some cups are recycled, we're looking at potentially 1.7 billion or more non-recyclable cups going to landfills every year from Canadian locations alone. But here's the part that frustrates environmental advocates. Tim Hortons has known about this issue for years. Their solution? A 10-cent discount if you bring a reusable cup, a discount that's remained unchanged for decades. 10 cents off a $2.50 plus purchase. Industry observers note that less than 2% of customers use reusable cups. Meanwhile, Greenpeace named Tim Hortons one of Canada's top 5 worst plastic polluters in a 2018 audit. The company has announced various sustainability initiatives and pilot programs, but cup production continues growing with expanding sales. If you're part of Tim's Rewards, you've probably noticed the program keeps changing. And according to customer complaints online, each change seems to favor the company over loyal customers. Here's the evolution. The original program was simple. Visit 7 times, get a free coffee. Straightforward. But in 2020, Tim Hortons switched to a points-based system where you earn 10 points per dollar spent. Then in February 2023, they changed it again. Items that previously cost 70 points suddenly required 400 points. That's nearly a 6-fold increase. A customer did the math. Under the old visit-based system, spending about $3 per visit meant 7 visits. $21 earned a free coffee. Under the new point system, you need to spend $40 for that same 400-point free coffee worth approximately $2.50. One customer told Global News they used to get 6 free drinks annually, but now would only get 2. Tim Hortons defended the changes, stating, "Those who spend more will earn more," but many customers reported feeling the value had significantly decreased. Here's where the psychology gets interesting. The points don't feel like money leaving your wallet. They feel like a game. Double Points Day. Bonus stars this week. It's what behavioral economists call gamification, the same psychological technique casinos use. You're not buying coffee, you're chasing points. And as loyalty program experts note, the house always wins. While you're chasing those points, let's talk about how long you're waiting. According to industry data, drive-through wait times at quick-service restaurants have increased in recent years. In 2010, typical coffee shop drive-thrus averaged under 5 minutes. By the early 2020s, reports indicated that during busy periods, some Tim Hortons locations could experience waits of 8 to 10 minutes or more. What changed? Mobile ordering. Tim Hortons implemented app-based ordering to improve efficiency, but numerous employee and customer reports suggest it introduced new complications. Stores now juggle 3 order streams: drive-through, walk-in customers, and mobile orders. Some sources indicate that mobile orders may receive priority in the queue, meaning someone who placed an order 30 seconds ago from the parking lot might get served before you've been waiting 5 minutes in the drive-through. Customer service reviews sometimes mention order mix-ups, long waits, and overwhelmed staff. With mobile orders increasing sales significantly, the corporate perspective may view occasional longer waits as a trade-off for higher revenue. Speaking of staff, let's talk about the people making your coffee. According to salary data from Indeed, PayScale, and Glassdoor compiled in 2024 to 2025, Tim Hortons employees in Canada typically earn between $16 to $17 per hour, with some positions starting closer to $15 to $16. For full-time work, which many employees don't get, that translates to roughly $32,000 to $35,000 annually before taxes. Meanwhile, Restaurant Brands International, Tim Hortons' parent company, reported system-wide sales of over $7 billion globally, with Tim Hortons contributing a significant portion. Some reports have highlighted that in certain cases, employees need to work 20 hours weekly to qualify for benefits. There have been accounts of workers being scheduled just below that threshold. Add unpredictable schedules, last-minute shift changes, and high-pressure rushes, and you have what labor analysts describe as burnout conditions. Employee review sites show some locations experience nearly 100% annual turnover, meaning the entire staff quits and is replaced within a year. When you're wondering why your order seems wrong more often lately, staffing challenges might be part of the answer. Let's talk about what else has been in Tim Hortons products. Like many chains, they once used cochineal extract, a red food coloring made by crushing dried beetles, in some beverages prior to 2012. It's FDA approved and used throughout the food industry, but it's also, well, crushed bugs. After growing awareness and public concern, companies including Tim Hortons began switching to alternatives like lycopene, a tomato-based pigment, and those better-for-you options. Ordering almond milk used to add 70 to 80 cents to your drink, despite almond milk often costing less to produce than dairy, according to food industry analysts. That surcharge reportedly generated millions in annual revenue. However, in recent years, Tim Hortons joined other major brands in removing the surcharge for non-dairy alternatives. And the almond milk itself, like most commercial almond milk, it's primarily water with approximately 2% almonds, plus thickeners and additives. You're paying a premium for what's essentially flavored water. Want a plant-based breakfast sandwich? Reviews note they often contain 15 plus more ingredients than traditional versions while offering only marginally fewer calories. You're not necessarily getting healthier, you might be getting more processed food with better marketing. Let's do the math on what this habit actually costs. If you buy a $3 coffee and a $2 donut 5 days a week, that's $25 weekly. Over 52 weeks, you're spending $1,300 annually. For context, that's enough for a weekend getaway to another province, a basic home espresso setup that would pay for itself in months, 3 months of gym membership, or nearly a month's rent in some Canadian cities. You're not just buying coffee and donuts, you're funding a habit at a company that, according to brand reputation surveys, has dropped from 13th most reputable Canadian company in 2017 to not even ranking in the top 50 by 2018, according to the Reputation Institute. Customer satisfaction scores have declined. Quality complaints have increased. Yet the prices keep climbing with inflation plus increases. Here's the truth many Canadians don't realize. Tim Hortons isn't Canadian-owned anymore. In 2014, Burger King acquired Tim Hortons for $12.5 billion in a deal financed by 3G Capital, a Brazilian private equity firm with a reputation for aggressive cost-cutting. That deal created Restaurant Brands International, headquartered in Canada for tax purposes, but with 3G Capital holding the largest stake. At the time, executives promised nothing would change. Tim Hortons CEO Mark Cara stated, "Our customers, employees, franchisees, and fellow Canadians can all rest assured that Tim Hortons will still be Tim Hortons following this transaction." But customers noticed changes almost immediately. Reddit discussions from late 2014 and early 2015 show Canadians asking if the coffee tasted different, weaker, or more burnt. Media reports from the period document rising complaints. According to HuffPost, by 2018, 1 in 3 Tim Hortons customers said their opinion of the chain was worsening. The brand ranking dropped from 4th most admired in Canada, 2014, to 50, 2018, per The Star. Industry analysts pointed to 3G Capital's well-documented strategy: acquire brands, cut costs aggressively, maximize short-term profits. Whether or not that's what happened at Tim Hortons, the timing is notable. Quality complaints, staff issues, loyalty program devaluations, and customer satisfaction declines all accelerated after 2014. The bottom line. At North America Crisis Watch, we're not here to tell you where to spend your money. We're here to give you the facts so you can decide if what you're buying matches what you're getting. At Tim Hortons, you're buying a brand that trades heavily on Canadian nostalgia and national identity. But strip away the marketing, the double-double tradition, and the red cups, and what's the reality? Coffee that independent experts sometimes rate below competitors. Sugar content that rivals desserts. Cups that overwhelmingly end up in landfills despite sustainability claims. A loyalty program that's been devalued repeatedly. Longer wait times despite promises of efficiency. Workers earning modest wages while corporate profits grow. And a company that's no longer Canadian-owned despite positioning itself as a Canadian icon. Maybe none of that matters to you. Maybe that morning Tim Hortons run is about more than the coffee. It's routine, it's comfort, it's part of your identity as a Canadian. We get that. But you deserve to make that choice with your eyes open, knowing exactly what you're paying for and what you're getting. So next time you're in that drive-through line, 8 minutes deep with no end in sight, ask yourself, is this ritual still worth it? Or is it just a habit? If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button. Share your Tim Hortons experiences, good or bad, in the comments. And subscribe to North America Crisis Watch, where we dig into what you're really paying for and help you make smarter decisions with your money. Until next time, stay informed and don't let nostalgia make decisions for your wallet.